Many times people choose to get married and they haven't asked the fundamental questions. You're just interested in, does he look good? Is he taller than me? Do we look nice together? Those fico things, and you've not gotten down to the details, the things that are going to make your marriage what you want it to be. So one of the first questions you must ask is his parents and his background. Were his parents together? Were they married? Were they always fighting and the mother is running out of the house every night? What's the reason behind that? So find out what his background was like. Did they have a successful marriage? What was it like? Were they officially married? If they're not alive, just find out the details of how their marriage was like, because our background informs a lot of our decisions and how we see life, and that will affect your marriage. The second question you must ask is his conflict management skills. Hmm? There are people, once you have messed them up, they're not going to talk to you for 2 weeks. They are going to give you silent treatment. I'm always getting DMs from people who are saying, there's someone who sent me a DM last week saying she made a mistake, her husband has not spoken to her. You're in the same house, you're speaking to someone, he's quiet. Woe unto you if you're an extrovert and you're always talking. But also, even if you're an introvert, many times you find that you want to keep talking to your spouse, even if you're a quiet person. And now your spouse is the one who is giving you silent treatment. It's very painful. So find out what his conflict style is like. Is he going to live in the bed and sleep in another room? Is he not going to come back home because you had a fight about something small? It might even be big, but if he's going to desert you because you're now facing a conflict, then that's a question mark somewhere. So ask that question and make sure that you have those answers. The third question you need to ask is his stance on children. These are going to be three. Number one, in the event that we're not able to have kids, is it a deal breaker? Are you going to leave me and source for kids elsewhere? Are you open to maybe having kids through adoption, through a surrogate, through IVF? Find out what his stance is like on children. And then also find out, does he want children? Does she want children? We know of a couple where the woman didn't want kids. She was very good with kids. She is amazing with children, but she didn't want to have biological children of her own. And her husband thought, you know what, once we get married, I'm going to change her mind. Which woman doesn't want kids? 1 year in, 2 years, and now they started having trouble because she didn't want children. He gave her the option of adoption. She didn't want surrogate. She didn't want to have kids of her own, and that marriage just had to end. Yeah. So you might think, I'm going to change her mind once we get married. Will you? So have that conversation and find out, does he want kids? Does she want kids? And then the next is, how many kids do you want? When we got married, my husband wanted 4 and I wanted 2. So we reached a compromise and said we'll have 3. Have that conversation and like just be open, find a compromise and find out how many kids you want to have. Some people want 6 kids. For you only want 1. Then the 2, the 6 and the 1 get married. Then for you already have your 1 kid, he's demanding you for others. Then the next conversation you need to have is on family planning. There are some people who don't believe in family planning. Some of them it's because of their religion. So now you get married. For me, I want you to be doing family planning. Or the woman wants to have her kids back to back to back. For him, it's like, no, let me first enjoy my fast. So now you're having that conflict on family planning. Yeah, there are some people who have been pregnant 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, because you don't believe in family planning. So you're there giving birth year after year after year, and you're suffering, you're struggling, you feel like your husband is suffocating you, but it's a conversation that you didn't have. So make sure you find out what is your stand on family planning, do the research together, go to gynecologists together, and yeah. In the era that we live in, you find that many of our careers might require us to go out of the country. Some of us are called differently. Like if someone is called to be a missionary and then he's going to serve, I don't know, in Burundi, are you willing, if someone had to relocate, are you willing to take that move with them? Are you willing to stay here and do a long distance marriage? So have that conversation. In case one of us had to relocate, are you willing to come with me? Are you willing to stay here and wait for me and be faithful while you wait? Yeah. And sometimes sometimes we think that you're going to go to the UK and it's going to be dope, but people are in the UK cleaning toilets. So find out if your husband ends up relocating to do some of those odd jobs just to use them as a means to an end. Is it something that you are willing to be patient through? Then also find out if they have been in a relationship before. How did that relationship end? Hmm? Was he the one who ended it? Or was she the one who ended it? Find out the genesis of that relationship, how it went, the exodus of it, how it ended and reached its end. Because many times those things that affected that relationship are going to come back and affect your relationship, especially if the person has not taken the time to work on themselves. Yeah. Now the other conversation you need to have is on money. What are your money habits? What are the other person's money habits? There are people who money does not spend a day in their hands. Once there's money, they are going to spend it, and that's going to become a problem once you are married. There are some people who earn money in shady ways. Yeah, they are dancing at 3 a.m. to some person to get money, or they are stealing in the office. Find out, how do you make your money? Yes, you have a car, you have an apartment here, but how have you gotten your money? And what are his money beliefs? Does he tithe, if you believe in tithing? And that's where your values and belief system comes in. For a marriage to work out, your belief system has to align, your values have to align. Otherwise you're going to clash on so many fronts. And the thing is that in marriage you're going to have kids, and we are passing on our belief systems and our values to our children. So are you saying A while the mother is saying B, or you're saying C while the father is saying D? So find out what your values are and make sure that they align and you can reach a compromise. The next question you need to ask is, what is your definition of cheating? For some people, we are just texting. Hey, you're just texting someone else. Hey, you've not done anything physical. Is that cheating to you? Or for you, cheating is someone has to go the whole 9 yards, everything, they do everything. So define what cheating is to you, because now you're going to see your husband looking at someone who has passed by with a short skirt, and for you that is cheating, and for him it's just like, but my eyes are just looking. Yeah. So define what cheating is for you. That will help you a long way in the course of your marriage. Another question that you need to ask is health issues, health history. Does he have allergies? Have they gotten accidents before? Have they had surgeries? Find out. When Mark and I were getting married, we had to do blood work. So we did HIV tests, and we also did a test for sickle cell. So many times people get married and they haven't done those tests, and then you find that maybe your kids are sicklers or they are carriers. So there are things that we don't think about so much, but they can potentially affect your marriage. So find out what your health history is. There are some people who are diabetic, and that affects your lifestyle. There are things they can't eat, they have to eat on time. Yeah, some of them have high blood pressure and they have to keep swallowing medicine. So find out what your health conditions are, your health issues are, and yeah, so that you make an informed decision. When the priests are wedding us, they usually say it is a decision that you make after serious thought. So your serious thought should not be, he is so handsome, I can't do without him, she is so beautiful, she'll look nice on my arm. But it should be, this is how our life is going to be, this is the lifestyle that I'm signing up for. Find out if your person has temptations and things that they are struggling with. There are so many people that are struggling with pornography, with masturbation. There are people who are struggling with stealing. Like for them, when they see money there and it's not theirs, somehow their fingers are just itching to take it. Yeah. So find out what things are they struggling with, what things are constantly tempting them, and you see how you can stand with them. You see if it's something that you are willing to power through while they work through it. Yeah. So find out what their temptations are, and you also share what your temptations are, so that when you're doing life with someone, you are genuinely doing life with them, and you're willing to pray with them, support them as they work through their different struggles and temptations. So when you do have children, how do you intend to discipline them? There are many couples that are in conflict because they didn't align on how they discipline kids. There's this person who thinks, I will, any small thing, Chibox, you get a stick and you're beating your kids, and the other one is like, why are you beating the kids? We can talk to them. We can do gentle parenting, you know? So find out what your discipline techniques are, what your stand is on disciplining your children, and find a common ground so that when that time comes, mom and dad are one team. You're in a united team, and your kids are not saying, I'll go to mom for this one, I'll go to dad for this one, because they know who to manipulate here and there for it to have their way. The next question you need to ask is, what are your deal breakers? If I say don't eat your food, is it a deal breaker? If I come back home and I tell you I'm satisfied, I had dinner maybe on my way back home, is it a deal breaker for you? If I don't know how to cook, what are your deal breakers? If, say, I cheat once, is it a deal breaker for you? There's so many people who have stayed in marriages where their spouses have cheated, and you will, if they told you their story, you will never believe it. So find out what your deal breakers are, communicate them, and see if it's something that you're willing to handle. Because if someone who is struggling, say, with pornography and masturbation, the chances are very high, like, they can easily step out. So if they step out, is it something that you're willing to forgive? So have those conversations before you get married. Marriage involves so much. It's more than we look good together, we love each other, we are so in love, we have good chemistry. He gives me butterflies in my tummy. It's beyond that. Marriage, you're two different people. You're coming with a different background, he's coming with a different background, and now you're trying to merge and make a life together, be united as a couple. And that's going to bring out all that, like, these things that you also didn't know existed are going to come out. Marriage brings out your flaws, it brings out your best, and also brings out your worst. So have this conversation so that by the time you make that decision, you can at least see, like, okay, this one might come up, and when it does, this is how I will handle it. Or this one might come up, and when it does, this is how I'll handle it. So have the conversations. But again, when you're getting married, it's taking a step of faith. But you also, when you're taking a step of faith, don't do it foolishly. Hence these conversations. When you take a step of faith, take it with God, knowing, God, go before me, go before us, and may our marriage glorify your name. I hope this video has given you questions to ponder about. I know that it has, and some of you might already be married and you're like, we didn't have that conversation. It's not too late. You can still have the conversation right now. God is able to redeem, he's able to restore. So have that conversation right now. Remember, I am Daisy, I am rooting for you, and subscribe, like, share, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Let's get into it. I have to dance.